Welcome, everybody, to another great action-packed hour of East Coast Pro Wrestling here on Seaside Cable. Have some great matchups for you. Some of the best wrestlers in the Maritimes coming at you as you hear Sheldon McLean, the owner of ECPW, introducing senior referee James Ash to the crowd, and he's not necessarily getting the best of responses, and he's got his work cut out for him tonight trying to maintain order some of the top wrestlers in the Maritimes.
First from Parkland, weighing 265 pounds, Kilgrave.
And there are very few wrestlers anywhere in the world that carry the intimidating presence of this man. And you can see the horrified expressions of the children when they see Kilgrave come to the ring. He's going to be matched up against Brian McKay in tonight's opening contest. Again, I'm Patrick McNeil, and welcome to East Coast Pro Wrestling on Seaside Cable. And you want to talk about heads turning. And you can hear the crowd. They are none too fond of this man. And I can assure you, his actions in the ring match his demeanor walking to it. A very boisterous crowd here in New Waterford as we get set for more ECPW action. Have some great bouts lined up for you. And already, Kilgrave not making friends with his acquaintances in the front row. And our ring announcer today, Sheldon McLean, getting instructions from the referee, James Ash.
And his opponent from Moncton, New Brunswick, weighing 210 pounds, Brian McKay.
Here comes Brian McKay. I believe it's his first time wrestling in Cape Breton. New to the wrestling scene, but he's getting the crowd fired up here. And they've already taken a liking to the New Brunswick native. And Brian McKay exchanging high fives with the fans as he enters the New Waterford and District Community Center here. As we get ready to kick off a big hour of ECPW action on Seaside Cable. Certainly Brian McKay giving up size in this matchup. Expect him to utilize more of an aerial game, and we're already seeing a preview of that. He's jumping up and down and getting the fans going, maybe a bit too much. You don't want to expend your energy before the match even starts. But he certainly will have the support of this crowd in New Waterford. As Brian McKay set to lock horns with Kilgrave in our opening contest here on ECPW Wrestling on Seaside Cable. Senior official James Ash checking both wrestlers for weapons, and I don't know whether he would check under that mask of Kilgrave. I don't imagine Kilgrave would take too kindly to having his identity revealed, and I think the referee James Ash would know better than to broach that topic. As we get set to go for our opening contest. And I mentioned earlier, Brian McKay giving up some size here, but if there's one thing he has going for him, he's got the support of the fans, and he's really trying to incorporate that into this matchup, getting them fired up, and it's a great crowd here. Passionate wrestling fans in New Waterford, and they're all excited for East Coast Pro Wrestling, but Kilgrave looks to take control of this match early, giving a work over to the face of Brian McKay, who's going to shake that off. And then James Ash will have to make sure that Kilgrave doesn't go to the eyes. Series of body blows now from Brian McKay, but Kilgrave exhibiting that strength advantage we talked about earlier. That's throwing McKay in the mat, and that is not a popular outcome with the fans here in New Waterford. And Brian McKay will go back to his corner to regroup. A confident wrestler is McKay, though. You can see he's ready to shake it off and looking to lock horns again with Kilgrave, but again, he's giving up strength. And Crawls under the bigger wrestler. And now more series of body blows and a big blow to the head with the right hand of Kilgrave. And he's able to accomplish in one punch what a lot of wrestlers need 4 or 5 to do as he whips him into the corner. But uses his momentum against him, and a big clothesline, but no impact there. Off the clothesline by McKay on Kilgrave, even though Kilgrave had gone into the corner a moment earlier. And another clothesline. He's not able to take the big man off his feet. McKay ducks a clothesline and manages to send Kilgrave into the corner. And a big drop kick, a standing drop kick into the corner, and Kilgrave not down. But he's definitely dazed as McKay goes up to the second rope, and oh, he's taken down. Kilgrave just so strong on his feet, able to keep that vertical base, and now he's giving Brian McKay a working over, lining him up along the ropes, and James Ashton forcing that 5 count. Kilgrave working it to the max. And now attacking, throwing the weight of his body over Brian McKay and using the weight of the second rope. Shades of a young big boss man there with the Kilgrave attack, as Kilgrave with an overhead forearm, putting his strength on the Moncton native. Now another forearm. Every one of those blows making significant impact. He whips him into the corner on a short clothesline and then back to the opposite corner. Kilgrave basing a lot of his attack on those big forearms and now going for a side slam. Holds him up for a few seconds for added impact. First pinfall attempt of the match. That's 2 counts. As you hear the crowd echo James Ashton. James Ashton instructing Kilgrave. Nope, that was only 2, but already in a bit of trouble perhaps is Brian McKay as Kilgrave seizes on both sides of the head. And the fans here in New Waterford trying to applaud their guy on. Series of elbows, and he thought he'd broken the hold, but Kilgrave goes to the hair, and he's getting a fair warning from James Ash not to pull the hair, but Kilgrave not above pushing the rules and pushing the limits as he throws Brian McKay into the corner and into the opposite corner. And another overhead forearm. Getting a lot of power from those big blows is this monster from parts unknown. And a scattered applause at best for Kilgrave. And indeed, most of the fans here in New Waterford not fond of this mystery man. Throws McKay to the ropes, but a reversal. Able to take him down in a pinfall attempt, and it's another 2 count. But Brian McKay right back on the attack and another rollover. And another 2 count, but Brian McKay gaining some momentum here. He wants to keep Kilgrave grounded, but Kilgrave gets up as McKay in position for a power slam, and it's a fall-away slam, and boy, that's an awkward landing if you're Brian McKay, and he's feeling that, and he'll feel it tomorrow as well. An attempt for Kilgrave there, and it's a 2 count. Perhaps Kilgrave a bit overconfident. Needs to hook the leg here against the wrestler caliber of Brian McKay. James Ash in great position for the pinfall attempt. Is Kilgrave going to line him up for a choke slam perhaps? So he's going to put the weight of his arms into I guess you could say a modified chokehold here. Going to work on the shoulder of Brian McKay as you hear the crowd rallying, trying to get Brian McKay back into this matchup. And he's urging the fans to support him. He needs it right now. But Kilgrave grinding Brian McKay down, working on those traps. And he has been able to exercise most of the control in this matchup. As you hear the fans, the great fans here in New Waterford, passionate wrestling community. They're not enjoying what they're seeing right now, but Brian McKay with a series of elbows to the gut and a powerful headbutt from the strength of Kilgrave. All the power of his mask behind that one. And a clothesline, a devastating clothesline to the throat of Brian McKay, who gets up, but just in time to receive another big blow. And he's going to have to dig deep into the reserve. Oh, the spinning heel kick from Brian McKay, and he's got the crowd on his side now, and another boot to the face of Kilgrave. Kilgrave wounded a little bit here. Brian McKay going all the way to the top rope, a cross body block. He's got it for a 1, a 2, and it's a 3 count. And Brian McKay able to use the momentum of Kilgrave against him, and he has picked up the victory here in tonight's opening contest. And the crowd applauding with approval as Brian McKay, a bit of an upset you'd have to say over the much larger Kilgrave, but the game Monktonian celebrating with the fans. And Kilgrave none too happy. He's making his displeasure vocal with anybody that'll listen. But he is going to have an L in the column after tonight's contest. And as Brian McKay fist pumping his way out with the victory. And that's quite the notch on the belt if you're Brian McKay to say you've beaten a wrestler the caliber of Kilgrave. Giving up size but not hurt. And it is Brian McKay picking up the victory by pinfall over Kilgrave in tonight's opening contest. We have more coming up here in a great hour of East Coast Pro Wrestling on Seaside Cable. Coming up next, we're going to have the giant Charlie Winston by way of the United Kingdom. He'll be taking on Saskatchewan's own Lincoln Steen, a longtime fixture in the maritime wrestling scene. He's picked up his share of victories over the years, and Charlie Winston, a relative newcomer, but you've seen him wrestle here on Seaside before. He's an imposing figure, 6'9", 290. Should be a great matchup, a clash of styles between those two.
Charlie Winston, well. You took an awful long trip across the pond to go one-on-one with not only the best wrestler in Cape Breton, not only the best wrestler in Nova Scotia, not only the best wrestler in Canada, but tonight in Cape Breton, you're about to find out I'm the best wrestler in the Commonwealth.
Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, weighing 235 pounds, Lincoln Steen.
And indeed, here comes Lincoln Steen. As I said, a fixture in the Maritimes. He's wrestled many a big name, and he's posted his share of victories, and he is not above bending the rules. And I anticipate momentarily that when he comes out, they'll be asking for the approval of the audience, and well, I'm going to guess that he doesn't get it. Has not proven to be popular with maritime wrestling fans over the years, and I have a suspicion the fans in New Waterford will be no different tonight. And a scattered applause for Let's Hear It for Steen, but for the most part, the fans discouraging him to the point some fans have actually purchased signs to show their displeasure with Lincoln Steen. The Stinkin' Lincoln and Steeny Weeny signs you see in the front row. And you know that riles up Lincoln Steen. He does not like that. He'd love to have the approval of the fans, but he's not getting it today. As the strains of Dr. Feelgood accompanying him to the ring as they have. And he always seems confused as to why he can't meet the approval of these fans, but I have a feeling Charlie Winston will.
Charlie Winston.
And from across the pond, Charlie Winston, from one island to another in the United Kingdom, comes out to a big response from the fans here. They're excited to see the English Giant in action. As Charlie Winston gets ready to do battle with Lincoln Steen. Interesting seeing the children high-fiving Lincoln Steen. They've got to jump up to meet this man's hand, but he's very excited to interact with the fans, but he'll be all business when he gets in the ring, I assure you. And he'll have a test in the form of a maritime veteran, Lincoln Steen. James Ash, again, the referee for this contest. We're in the midst of a great hour of ECPW action here on Seaside Cable. 6'9", 290, Charlie Winston getting ready to take on Lincoln Steen, getting checked for weapons by James Ash, the senior official. And Lincoln Steen certainly not above using foreign objects in his matches. We've seen him do that recently as ECPW has toured through Cape Breton Island. And Lincoln Steen seeing how he measures up, and if he wasn't aware before, he is certainly aware now of the size discrepancy he's giving up here. And what nefarious means he will do to try to negate that disadvantage, well, we'll have to see. Collar and elbow tie to begin this matchup, second match of the hour here as Charlie Winston showcases his strength, tossing Steen aside. And Steen accusing Charlie Winston of pulling his hair. And if we know one thing, Steen won't be able to return the favor if his accusation is true. Charlie Winston sporting a very clean look as they throw Steen to the mat again. And he is not fazed by the Maritime veteran. And another false accusation of cheating from Lincoln Steen, and we know that not to be the case. Charlie Winston playing it down the middle, and he's just been too strong for Lincoln Steen here in the early going, but we're just getting going with this matchup, and Lincoln Steen will give a kick to the gut, and I guess that's the great equalizer. And Steen again asking for the approval and receiving none. And Charlie Winston powers Steen to the outside of the ring and onto the ring apron. And now he does pat the hair of Lincoln Steen, who retreats to the outside. And the youngster in the Toronto Maple Leafs shirt there, pressing the air horn in the face of Lincoln Steen. And now Charlie Winston calling out the cowardly ways of Lincoln Steen, who is in no hurry to get back in the ring. He doesn't like the fact that he has been outmatched thus far in the early going. And obviously a challenge to face on the wrestler of the caliber and the size of Charlie Winston. One of the weapons we've seen Lincoln Steen utilize in a lot of his matches is that long-standing vertical suplex to hold up a wrestler for a number of seconds. I suspect it'll be rather difficult for him to pull that off against the wrestler the size of Charlie Winston, who's going to throw Lincoln Steen back into the ring with authority. And Lincoln Steen's back is going to be feeling that one tomorrow. But again, a kick to the stomach and some overhead shots. And now smart wrestling from Lincoln Steen, going to try to take out that vertical base of Charlie Winston. The low drop kick to the knees, and now he's ground to the giant. And this is what he's going to need to do, ground and pound offense from the wily veteran. And now Lincoln Steen going outside the ring. What is he doing? And he's going to use the ring apron against Charlie Winston and pound his leg against him, and his leg against the apron, rather. And is he going to try to pick one leg? Now he's throwing that right leg against the post. And throughout Charlie Winston's tenure in the Maritimes, this has been a common strategy against him, try to go to work on that right leg. Giant size is no good if he can't establish a vertical base. And we see Lincoln Steen take a few more shots with the kick to the leg, and now we're already seeing Winston with a bit of difficulty standing up, and now he's fallen to the ground as it appears Lincoln's strategy has yielded some success here in the early going. But this is far from over, I assure you. A wrestler of the caliber of Charlie Winston is not just going to give up this easily, but Lincoln Steen certainly has him in an advantageous position right now. Off the ropes, but Winston meets some resistance there with a big shoulder block. And another shoulder block that'll send Lincoln Steen down. And a powerful side slam from Charlie Winston. And he tests out the weight on his leg, and a senton and a cover and a 2 count. Almost 3. Charlie Winston testing Lincoln Steen, covering James Ash in a good position to make the cover. And a big boost to the upper body of Lincoln Steen and another pinfall attempt. And that's going to be a 3 count. Charlie Winston overcomes and picks up the pinfall victory over Lincoln Steen. And a game effort from Lincoln Steen. He tried to ground the Giants, but Charlie Winston showing some hard-end skill today. And with the support of these fans, now bowing in support, Charlie Winston with a victory, and an impressive victory over the Maritime veteran Lincoln Steen. And Charlie Winston, a newcomer here in the Maritimes, but I think he's here to stay. And the fans appreciating that, and an impressive showing from the English Giants, as Lincoln Steen now asking for help from the referee James Ash. And it appears he'll be dragged out of the ring and out of the ringside area As it is, Charlie Winston picking up a big victory over Lincoln Steen here as we continue on with East Coast Pro Wrestling on Seaside Cable. Have more great action coming up for you here. East Coast Pro Wrestling on Seaside Cable. Coming up, we have Dynamite Dylan Davis, Newfoundland native, taking on an opponent from south of the border, the American Patriot. Should be a great matchup. Two evenly sized competitors, and I'm looking forward to this one. See how these two match up against each other.
You can also get 50-50 tickets here over in the corner there, and proceeds go to
Great crowd here at the New Waterford and District Community Center for some action-packed professional wrestling. East Coast Pro Wrestling, the best wrestling on the island. And fans here are very excited to see the big ECPW stars. All that and more that we have seen thus far and yet to come.
Next contest is a ladies match scheduled for one fall.
And coming up, we have some women's action.
First from Brooklyn, New York, Allie Zwicker.
Allie Zwicker not proving to be popular with the fans here in New Waterford. As her and Madison Miles have developed a bit of a rivalry in recent months. As you can hear, Allie Zwicker hearing the boos from the fans here. And she is confused by this negative reaction. But it's certain the fans here in New Waterford are not going to support any woman that crosses with the Nova Scotia hero, Madison Miles. So Allie Zwicker very much on the road for this contest. And she's not doing anything to endear herself to these fans. And of all the superstars we've seen come through ECPW, I don't know if we've seen any that are as disrespectful to the fans as Allie Zwicker. She is more than prone to get in the face of those in the front row. And you can see her interacting with the young ladies, and not in the most pleasant of ways, as she trash talks the fans in the crowd, the younger fans in particular. But she'll have her hands full with Halifax's Madison Miles, who, despite her young age, already quite a bit of experience in the ring in the Maritimes. But, of course, Madison has quite the test. Allie Zwicker coming by way of Brooklyn, and she's a tough cookie. And as I said, these two have established quite a rivalry, both eager to establish themselves as a premier women's wrestler in the Maritimes.
And her opponent from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Madison Miles.
And as always, you can hear the roar of approval when Madison Miles comes out in her home province. The strains of Paramore bring Maddie out to the ring. And she's more than happy to engage with the fans who are always willing to give her support. Should be a great contest here between Madison Miles and Allie Zwicker, coming by way of New York. And you can already hear the fans throwing their support behind Madison Miles. Referee James Ash checks to ensure both wrestlers have no intention in inserting any foreign object into this match. And Madison gaining the approval of the fans, and I think she wants Allie to test to see if she has the same level of support. And a bit of a spoiler alert here, I'm going to guess that Allie Zwicker does not have the fans behind her, and as expected, she is getting a less than positive response. And Madison Miles attacked from behind, playing to the crowd. And Allie Zwicker not above using underhanded means to get the advantage. And she throws Allie into the ropes, but duck under. And a powerful shoulder at Allie Zwicker. Quick cover for Madison Miles and a 2 count. Has Allie Zwicker in trouble early, perhaps trying to catch her by surprise. Madison goes off the ropes. And then she is met, but then roll over into a pinfall attempt. And a 2 count. Thought that might have been 3 there, but match continues on. Allie Zwicker taken down by the knees. Another quick pinfall attempt, and Madison Miles coming out like a house of fire here. Trying to catch Allie Zwicker quick. Now going to work on that arm. Another rollover pinfall attempt. Another 2 count. Boy, Madison Miles, all kinds of different pinning combinations here. She has Allie Zwicker on the ropes early. Allie Zwicker, as I mentioned earlier, not above underhanded means, and she tried to get a cheap one on Madison Miles, attacking her from behind, but Madison shaking that off, and a number of near falls here in the early going, and probably the right move here for Allie Zwicker, a veteran coming to the outside of the ring to try to compose herself. But the crowd getting under the skin now of Allie Zwicker, questioning her courage, and Madison Miles is in the ring doing the same thing, but right now Allie Zwicker in no hurry to get into the ring. And now stealing the hat of one of the supporters at ringside, and I don't think that young woman is too happy about that. And James Ash will have to be careful here. I'm sure he wants to use some leniency. These fans want to see these women lock it up, but James Ash has a 10 count to enforce, and now Madison Miles will chase Allie around the ring. Allie comes into the ring. Oh, and she thought she put one over on Madison Miles, but Madison was too smart. Now she's going to take Zwicker into the ropes and a big chop. Shades of Ric Flair as you hear the fans wooing it up. Their hero very much in control in the early going in this matchup. But Allie Zwicker able to throw Madison to the mat. They're going to go for her own pinfall attempt, and it is a 2 count, and perhaps the strategy of going outside the ring, slowing the match down a little bit, and establishing the tempo that she wants to wrestle under. As Allie Zwicker feels now, perhaps this match is hers for the taking. And she's going to use the ropes against Maddie and put the knee in there for a little extra leverage, but James Ash warning her she's got a 5 count. And of course, Allie Zwicker will be more than willing to go to 4.5 on that count to inflict as much damage as possible. Putting a boot right to the throat of Madison Miles, and the complexion of this matchup has turned. And Allie Zwicker perhaps a little bit frustrated here with the crowd, and she can't be worried about that. She's got a top-notch competitor in the ring that she has to worry about. A nice snapmare takeover there from Allie Zwicker. And a rollover neck breaker. And now Madison Miles is the one who finds herself in big trouble. Another pinfall attempt here. James Ash in position. And it's a 2 count. But perhaps Madison Miles wearing down. That's a key element in professional wrestling. You can wear down a wrestler just by making them kick out. Every ounce of energy they have to exert is vertical suplex. Grounds Maddie to the mat again. Another pinfall attempt. And it's another 2 count, but Allie Zwicker, hard to tell whether she feels she's frustrated or whether she feels she's getting closer with each pin attempt. Now on the youngster Madison Miles, who's trying to use the ropes to come to her feet. I do sense the frustration on Allie Zwicker, and perhaps she feels the counts were a little bit slow, but James Ash calling it by the book. As Allie Zwicker is met with a shoulder coming in to the corner. And now a big boot. Allie up on the top rope, or Madison up on the top rope. She could be in trouble here. She's thrown into the turnbuckle, landing with some velocity, and she goes down in a heap in the center of the ring. Now Allie Zwicker again showing her frustration, but she knows that she can silence these fans in a hurry if she can get to 1, 2, 3 on Madison Miles, and she's going to try to do just that. And it's another 2 count. And the anger on the face of Allie Zwicker as he's trying to stretch out those arms of Madison Miles. Take away all the extremities and try to keep her on the ground. And a very vocal crowd here cheering on Nova Scotia's Madison Miles. Grew up going to Maritime Wrestling and now is a fixture on the scene herself. Trying to get back into this matchup. But a powerful body slam from Allie Zwicker. And Madison fighting it, resisting the incoming impact that results from landing on the mat. And another pinfall attempt. And another 2 count. But boy, Madison Miles, she's able to kick out, but showing to be in big trouble here. And James Ash telling Allie Zwicker, that was just 2. You've got to get 3. And maybe wasting some time here, letting Madison Miles get up and get back into this match. Allie Zwicker needs to regain her composure. She goes to the second rope. Maybe she's going to go to the top rope. No, goes up to the second rope. Still has some height up there. And threatening to drop the big elbow here. Oh, maybe she waited too much time, but she ends up on her back. I was able to anticipate Madison getting up. Thought she could get her on the ground, but Madison gets out of the way and now is ready for Allie again with a big clothesline and another clothesline. Well scouted by Madison Miles. Duck under. Neck breaker. Could that be all? Goes for the cover. Oh, it's another 2 count. And you can tell Madison Miles has prepared for Allie Zwicker. Seems to have a counter for so much of her offense in this match. And Madison knows she's the hometown favorite, using that support to her advantage. But she's fired into the corner. And now Allie Zwicker ramming the weight of her body into the gut of Madison Miles. And throwing her face first in the middle of the ring. And now looks for another pinfall attempt, and it's a 2 count. As Madison Miles again resilient here in front of her home province. As Allie Zwicker wonders what she has to do to finish off Madison Miles. As I said, Madison has been very adept here at just being ready for everything that Allie has brought her way, but right now it's Allie in control. Maybe spoke too soon. Rollover attempt here for Madison Miles, and it's a 2 count. And again, Madison with another great counter for Allie Zwicker's offense. Another kick to the stomach of Allie Zwicker, throws her down to the mat. And it's a 3 count. Madison Miles with the victory over Allie Zwicker. And the crowd roars with approval as another impressive showing for Madison Miles. Fans absolutely loving the action here in ECPW. Madison Miles, one of their favorites. As I said, she was ready for everything that Allie Zwicker brought her way tonight. And she embraces the support of the fans here in New Waterford. Allie Zwicker takes the loss. Madison Miles with the victory here. And that's going to do it for another great hour of East Coast Pro Wrestling here on Seaside Cable. And we'll see you next time with more great professional wrestling action.